Greetings, grasshoppers. Welcome to the bot signal. This is your RJ, as you probably knew. And today we're going to talk a lot about laws and stuff. I know. Okay, grab your coffee. I've got my cauldron cup special for today. Get comfortable, and we're going to talk about some regulations that are going to be affecting Facebook Messenger here in a couple of days. Main thing to know is this is a data protection regulation that affects the EU. So European, there are 27 countries in the European Union. This will also affect the UK, which is not a part of the EU, but is part of this regulation. I don't know. And a couple of other countries. There's Liechtenstein in there, a couple of other things. So if you have a lot of clients, or if you hunt for clients that are in the EU, this is going to affect you. If you have a Facebook page admin, Facebook page, not your ManyChat account, not your chat account, only with the Facebook page. If you have an admin on your page that is from the EU, you might want to go ahead and, not have them there anymore. That is also, something. And, this is a regular person reading legal documents. Disclaimer, I may get some of these things wrong. Go look at these things for yourselves. Always, right? Always. You got to check your facts on the internet. If you don't, it could be problems for you. I'm going to talk. Just do kind of an overview of the things that these new regulations are going to affect. This all goes to in effect December 16th. Yes, 2 days from now. So you might want to have your ducks in a row. An overview of the changes to Facebook Messenger that are coming. And this is only changes if you're using chatbots. If you're not doing chatbots, skip this show. It's going to be real boring. Well, you know what? Don't skip this show, because we're going to go over some cool stuff at the end. I promise it won't all be laws and legislation, which I'm not super qualified to review. But anyway, for this, basically the GDPR is expanding a bit. There was something in place called a privacy shield that kind of governed how information passed back and forth over the Atlantic. But a couple of months ago, actually, this was in July, the GDPR people decided that just was not enough, and that they want to go further to protect European citizens from the data harvesting techniques that a lot of companies use these days. So they're going further in the restrictions to GDPR, basically. Now, again, if you're based in the USA, you don't have a whole lot of European clients. At this moment, it's not a big deal. But as the world goes boldly marching on, these are things that we absolutely need to take into account. So the urgency, the crazy, oh my God, everything's going to change. Things are changing on Facebook Messenger with people who have chatbots that target people in European countries. Yes. But we really do need to change our thinking about how we are harvesting data for our own databases. Are we predatory in our practices? If we are, we need to stop immediately, because it's not just a thing with the European Union and them tightening stuff up. This is something that the world is watching. This is something that we've kind of been as Americans, I'm saying we, this is something that the normal citizen is kind of just blissfully really unaware of. Most people just kind of give away their data in a, just because we don't recognize that it's even worth a whole lot, but world over, that is not the attitude. So when we are getting data for our marketing, what are we doing with that? Can people ask us to remove it? Do they have the right to be forgotten from our stuff? These are all great big questions. Let me get to the comments here. So, more reasons to ditch Facebook. Well, yeah, kind of. Let's see. Happy to see you. Catch your live. Happy Monday. Hey, Silver Fox. Great to see you. So, if you have any questions about this, I'll answer what I can. But again, normal person reading legal language here, check your sources. I'll answer what I can and refer you off when I can. So, the new regulations are much more, they're more far reaching than they were before. And in a way, we've kind of gotten almost less notice, particularly I think from Facebook. This was around December 4th, actually, that, or well, in and around December 4th, so early December, which kind of still is, that we got notice that Facebook was changing a whole bunch of stuff. Now, this is not different from, there have been many times when Facebook has changed their freaking policy overnight, and we all just need to react. Super fun. Anyway, so we haven't had a whole lot of notice about this, but basically a lot of the changes are these, and this is specifically in regard to the ManyChat product. If you're using ManyChat for Messenger, if you're using other things that hook into Messenger, basically a lot of the things that I'm saying are going to, the restrictions are there no matter what third-party chat company is hooking into their software, right? Other companies have different ways of working around things. If you are currently using the Menius Chatus, there is an article that talks very specifically about all of these things. And it's that. I've just published a little link there that'll help you through that. So if you are on ManyChat, go read that article. Yeah, it says a 27-minute read. It's okay. You can take breaks. It's a lot of information, but basically what's going to be happening is that we've been able to, through Messenger, collect people's first and last names. That was one of the big cool things about it when we all started Messenger bots, was that it was it wasn't as big of a hurdle to get people to collect people's information, the people that we were talking to, because first and last name just comes automatically. So we could do things like throw a button on an advertisement, or on just on a landing page that says, hey, if you want the 411 on this challenge, click this button and get it sent to Messenger. And then we were able to kind of, by default, Messenger knows your first and last name, so we would get it too. What the folks are in the EU are saying is, no, we would like to not do that, please. And so first and last name isn't going to be available. We're not going to be able to we're going to have to structure our messages differently. Any message that uses buttons, which is all of them, any message that uses buttons we're going to have to switch to quick replies, which If you're a many chatter, you know what that means, which is, it's okay. I tend to not love the quick reply buttons as much, but I mean, whatever, it is a workaround that we can use. Also, if you're using ads to go from ads to Messenger, you are really gonna be affected. If you're a US company and you are, you're based here, you're targeting a lot of clients in the EU, you're writing Facebook ads to send people to Messenger, I would really, really do some legal research on that. Call your favorite legal professional. Heather Campbell is mine. If you would like to be introduced to her, just to let me know, because I will help you out with that. Yeah, wow, there's a lot of things going on, JR. There really, really are. So, we'll need to use quick replies, Facebook ads. You really want to review that before you go about doing some stuff like that. And if you've got a bunch of stuff running, I advise you to very, very quickly take a look at what you are doing and see how it is corresponding with the changes, because there's a lot of wrenches. There's a lot of wrenches in that machine right now. So you can still do things, but you have to go about them very differently. So things like videos are not going to be able to be sent. They're not gonna be able to be sent, which that's kind of a difficult prospect for me anyway. I use a lot of video in my chatbots. You may not, but one of the workarounds to that is make a separate run for your EU users. Make a separate run that includes links to videos that play offsite instead. That's something that you can totally do, is just ask people, if they're in the European Union or not, or in one of those countries. It's the EU plus 4, EU plus United Kingdom, Liechtenstein, and 2 others I'm forgetting. Do your research, people. Ask people if they're from those places. If they are, have a separate little bot run for them. It's going to be not as great of a user experience. But what a lot of people are saying, and what the GDPR people kind of have put out, is that user experience at the expense of data privacy is too expensive. Data privacy over user experience is what they're saying. So there's some stuff going on with that stuff too. Again, if you're in the US targeting US people, this isn't gonna affect you now, but some of this stuff could affect you in the future. Newbie in this research, love the warning. Oh, absolutely. If I want to move my bot, should I hold off leaving my current program, or does it not matter? At this point, I have got some questions out to some of the other platform providers that I have. You see, I don't know if you've heard, but Facebook has some privacy issues. Lots of them. Lots. In fact, it was within the past month that Facebook is being well, this isn't a privacy issue, but people suing Facebook is kind of it's such a regular thing nowadays, right? But this one caught my eye. 47 states are suing Facebook for basically being a monopoly on the social networking space. You almost cannot get away from them, because Facebook owns, I don't know if you knew, but they own Instagram, they own WhatsApp, they own lots of popular things. People will create these companies, and then Facebook comes along and says, well, we could buy that. And they do. And there are 47 states arguing that that creates a monopoly. So there might be a breakup of Facebook in our future, which I think would be awesome. Anyway, I digress. A lot of people suing Facebook over a whole lot of issues right now. And so I think that their response to these new GDPR things coming out is that they just kind of have slammed down the hammer on absolutely everything. And Messenger in 2 days isn't going to work in the EU as it has forever and ever since Messenger began. So this is good to know. It's good to know. Now, not every company has the same privacy issues. Not every company out there is interpreting the new regulations in the same way. So there may be some things that, there may be some things that they're interpreting in a way that is, heavy on the we don't want to get our butts in trouble side. You know what I'm saying? So I have some inquiries out to some other companies, other bot platforms that I work with, questioning about, what they're doing for data privacy in the EU and all of those things. So we'll see what answers come back from them. Let's see. Yeah, that's why I want to move my crap away from them. I'm not happy about them owning Insta either. Yeah, I know. And there is a platform that I use. There are two that are completely off of Messenger. And just because a lot of people want off of Messenger and off of Facebook entirely. So I do have, places to go for people. The company is called TrueChat. And if you want, an introduction to TrueChat, I can certainly do that. Good company, good folks over there. So anyway, back to the interpretation of the regulation. Basically, we're going to need to reroute what we're doing for European. If you have European clients, if you hunt for a European, if you hunt for a European audience, you've got to change the way that you're doing things, and super real quick. Or else what's going to happen is your clients are going to start to get really weird messages. Messages that don't make a whole lot of sense. Read that article, 27 minutes worth your time if you have a ManyChat bot. Now, let's talk about that. And that's not comprehensive of all of the changes that are being made. That's just what I remember. There's a whole lot more changes in there where people aren't going to be getting to the right Messenger thread. There's a whole lot. Plus, it's worth saying too, at the end of the article, there are some workarounds. ManyChat is pretty close to Facebook. They only have their product on Facebook. And so when something like this happens, they do tend to provide workarounds within the system, and they do tend to provide warnings within the system. And things like that. So that is helpful because there's a lot of things coming down the pike, and just trusting that I have a photographic memory and will remember them all as I'm applying and writing these bots. No, that's not true. It's just not true. Of course, everybody's, we're developing a little checklist now that will help us navigate through this experience. But it is helpful that ManyChat has some different options that you can do and some different suggestions. Also, they have a huge community. Now, to the larger point, this may not affect you right now. I get it. You're probably breathing a sigh of relief, right? I get it. But the way that we think about collecting data does need to change. It does need to change. A lot of the damage has been done with a lot of the damage has been done with some of the larger companies. It's not just Facebook either. Google's had huge privacy breaches. A lot of these companies that have been harvesting data have had troubles. And then of course, those folks kind of spoil it for the rest, for everybody else who's not, I'm not, I'm not doing anything with data other than personalizing somebody's experience, which I find is vital in the road ahead. Catching up on comments. I'm in UK, holy moly, and I have a lot of customers in Europe. Okay, Rosa, if you're using chatbots, that's something that you gotta address right now, because unfortunately you've got about 20 or 24, 48 hours before before Facebook. If you have chatbots on Messenger, you've got 48 hours to make some changes. If you don't have chatbots, don't worry about it. If you have chatbots but they're not in Messenger, you don't have to worry about it. So don't panic. But I do think that we need to be extremely transparent about what we're doing with people's data, about how we plan to use people's data, about the fact that people can and should be able to say, I want your data erased. I want my data erased from your system. We've got to be able to say, okay, absolutely, you are forgotten. And then, of course, complying with these things and giving people opportunities to opt in or to opt out. One of the articles that I was reading said, and I agree with this, that we've got to switch from this "you're automatically opted in unless you opt out" mentality. We've got to switch to the opposite, which is expressly you do have to opt in. It's the difference between having that checkbox checked, when you're signing up for stuff, or when you're buying stuff or something like that, and when you come down to the bottom and it's got the checkbox checked of I accept the terms and conditions, or I agree to receive email communications on behalf of the company. When those are pre-checked like that, that's an old attitude. It's an old attitude, I want people to opt into my stuff. It means that less people will be there in the crowd. But if I provide them valuable information, if I provide them something worth reading or knowing, then I don't have to worry that there's not as many people in the pipeline, because the people in the pipeline are more likely to get involved with me and make a transaction. Does that make sense to you? I know a lot of people are panicking right now. We're panickers, and it's 2020. So there's that. Personally, I don't think the calendar flipping over to 2021 is going to have any effect on my attitude or the way that I do business. Honestly, 2020 is a number. So, a lot of crazy things happen to fall in 2020. Great. Fantastic. It's just a number, though. Anyway, I'm getting off track, which I do. So, thinking about the way that we're gathering, we're holding, and we're processing information, this is something that we need to take seriously, even if we are not involved directly in the whole EU thing right now. We need to think as US based companies, we want to do business with people in Europe. European people are awesome. So we've got to think about this, and in regards to the way that we're collecting our own stuff. When GDPR first came out, remember, it was May 25th. And during the entire month of May that year, it was 2018, during the entire month of May, we were receiving, just a huge spam amount of stuff in our inbox saying, if you no longer wish to be subscribed, all of that stuff. And everybody was like, what is this now? GDPR isn't a one time, now we've got this regulation. GDPR is going to continue. The world is watching how this data privacy thing is going. States in the US here are changing their privacy laws as well. See also California. Hey, Californians, love you. And there are a lot of things that we need to be paying attention to on our websites, that we need to be paying attention to in our chatbots, and everything else. Basically, it really boils down to be kind. Treat people how you would like to be treated. If some of the user experience suffers, but the user has chosen that, respect that choice. They're going to be happier that you honored their privacy than they would be if they got a more personal experience, which they could totally opt into if they wanted. It's all about giving people a choice. So many times, and certainly with this data privacy stuff, for me, the following are opinions. Okay, just so you know, for me, that personal privacy data stuff, that was, taking that from all of us was a huge thing long before we recognized it. And then we were like, well, I guess it doesn't matter because they already have my information. And we kind of went on about our lives. But the reason why people want our personal information, and please don't ever give your personal information out in any, phishing scams or things like that. There is a guy on YouTube that my wife is absolutely obsessed with. His name is Kit Boga, and he actually calls people who are trying to hack people, and he messes with them. I love this man. He does things that are just so funny. But there are people out there trying to harvest data. We have something valuable. We have something valuable that other people want, and we should be able to choose when we give it out and when we don't. We shouldn't be tricked into giving people our personal information. We should have the right to look at what data a company has on us. We should have the right to get our data, to be forgotten about. The right to be forgotten about is what, lay people are calling it. We should have these rights. And although it makes our practices very, very different going forward, I would recommend, if you're just not a part of this change at all, you got to start looking at what you're doing. Start looking at what you're doing. And the main thing is this: never, never, never forget that you are not marketing to a screen. There's a person on the other end. How do you want to be treated? How would you want to be treated if you were in their shoes? For me, I do take people's data. I do, and I store it somewhere, and it's part of what helps me give people a personalized experience through my stuff. And I do it for my clients too. And so, how do we protect the person on the other side of the screen? How do we give them all of the options? How do we make that happen? When you look at it as not a reaction to a judge banging a gavel on the other side of the world, when you look at it as, wow, we've been thinking about this all wrong, and we should give our people more choice. When you look at it that way, it doesn't seem like we're having to react to every little law that gets passed. We get to design our data privacy ourselves. As long as we're complying with all of the laws, we get to design, the way that we're asking, the way that we're giving people options, the way that we're being transparent. You can decide that. You can make that part of your experience, just like you're making a freebie part of your experience or some onboarding part of your experience. You can do this. So resources, I've got legal resources that I can certainly ask questions of, and I want you to be able to do the same thing. So if you want the name of my legal human, her name is Heather Pierce Campbell. She is called also the website warrior, and she knows about these things. So I may invite her on the show in the next couple of weeks if she's got the time to kind of explain to us, what going forward, what is our data gathering strategy? How are we going to help people have choices? How are we going to help them protect themselves, even at the cost of user experience? How are we going to do these things? Because we can and we must. There are clients, we need to love them, and we need to take care of them. Because if we don't, we're going to be out of business. And who got into, well, I mean, there are people that get into entrepreneurship to make a fast buck and go buy the house in Maui. And some of them succeed. Great. I'm not one of those people. And chances are, if you're watching me, neither are you. So my gosh, that's been a rather long rant today. Like my cape, freaking unique username. Hello and thank you. I like it too. These goggles also very special to me. Although soon I might make some of my own. Reason? Because there is a permanent dent in my head right here. Because these bad boys are heavy. I'm thinking about making my own out of foam. We'll see how it happens. Anyway, way off track now. So, my friends, long and the short of it is this: do your research. Do your research and treat people with their data how you would want to be treated. Yeah, this is one of those things. This thing with the Messenger API, this is one of those things where Zucky snaps and we've all got to hop. And no one likes that. I understand why they are going full on, change mode for this, because they're doing some CYA, which they probably should do. And I realize it's a lot of work for those of you who now need to work on that, and we're certainly working on it on our side. But if it makes the world a safer and better place, where people don't abuse other people's data like they do now, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. So, darlings, I will be in the rest of the week giving you some little shows. We're going to talk about, well, non-legal things, hopefully. We're gonna talk about chatbots. We're gonna talk about interactive freebies. We're gonna talk about a whole bunch of things. I want to thank you for being here with me, because my audience is the best audience in the whole freaking world. I love you all, and I hope that you take this opportunity to just kind of take a look at what's going on and see how you can help this forward in your own business. Again, if you need my legal person, let me know and I will hook you up. And with that, my friends, thank you. I love you. You know I do. And be kind. I'll see you in a bot.